Hi everyone, this is Abdul Hadi. In today's tutorial, I'll be covering the most asked question for a job interview with examples of answers to each question you might be asked. So here we go. Before we start the questions, I would like to mention 5 tips they should be taken into consideration. The first tip, you need to actually dress smart and look presentable. You need to appear confident. Do some research on the company that you will have the interview with. Make sure you have a night or a good night's sleep before the interview. Finally, maintaining good eye contact at all times. Body language plays a vital part in a job interview. However, guys, the purpose of the interview itself is not to have the information out of you. They've already got it. You've already submitted your CV. All they need to know or to see is how confident would you be. Yet the tone of your voice. Would you confused or you okay? So be careful with those. Anyway, let's start with our questions. The first question you might be asked is, tell me a little bit about yourself or run me through your CV. CV is an abbreviation of the word curriculum vitae. Anyway, in here you need to mention when you grow up, education, personal interests, spare time, what do you do on spare time, and previous work experience. Anyway, let's have an example of how to answer that question. Right? I grew up in London. I studied construction management at Trading University. I have worked for 2 companies. You need to mention the name of the companies you have worked with before. As a site manager for approximately 4 years. I really enjoy figures, maybe that's why I love solving mathematical equations in my spare time. I'm a keen football player. I play for my local team at weekends. I support the Reds. That would be actually a perfect answer to that question. Tell me a little bit about yourself or run me through your CV. You hit the points. I've highlighted the main words in the context, the short text in here. All you need to do is reread it more than once, rephrase it, and put your personal details or information in it, and you should be fine. Let's go to the second question. Why do you want to work for us? It's a reasonable question, right? As we mentioned earlier, guys, you need to do a good research on the company you have the interview with. In this question, you need to pick the positive points about the company and mention them while you have the interview. Anyway, this question could be asked differently. Let's have the other type of asking that question. Or, what do you know about us? Us in here is an objective pronoun, refers to the company itself. Both have a common answer you can say. Anyway, let's have a look. I believe you are one of the most successful companies. I have read up on you, and I feel that I would be a valuable asset to your company. I have the skills you require to fulfill the post. I'm very willing to learn. I'm a team player and a good timekeeper. Most importantly, I'm a dedicated individual. I take great pride in everything I do. That would be a perfect answer. I've already again highlighted the most important words in the context. You need to take them into consideration. Rephrase it as we said. Put your personal interest in it. That's all. Here we go to the fourth question. What is your salary expectation? It's a bit tricky question. Some people, they prefer to mention numbers, figures, and some they don't. They let the company decide their salary for them. However, as we mentioned earlier, you need to have actually a good research on the company you have in an interview with. Most companies, they actually mention the salary range. For example, if the salary range between £18,000 and £25,000, actually it doesn't make sense to say I need £30,000 a year, right? Anyway, let's have an example of how to answer that question. I've got an assumption in here, guys. So the salary range of the company I'm going to have the interview with is £18,000 and £24,000. As we say, there are 2 types of people. People who want to mention numbers, figures, and people they are okay. The first type of people, I'm looking for a position which pays between £19,000 and £25,000 for 25 hours per week. and that number can be adjusted actually based on my ability to work from home, bonuses, and other benefits you might provide. Second answer, actually my salary expectations are in line with my experience and qualifications. Personally, I would go with the second answer. I'll give them the choice to decide my salary. What are your strengths? What do they mean by strengths in here? The points you are good at. What are you good at? So you need to actually mention adjectives about yourself. Anyway, let's have an example of how to answer this question. The first point is excellent at meeting deadlines. Means you submit, you give your projects, assignments, whatever you are doing on time. You're never late. Willing to take on responsibilities. Means you are a hard worker. You actually finish your work shortly in a short time and you can take more responsibilities. Detail oriented means you are very accurate in details. Approachable, efficient, sociable, lovely. Okay, those kind of adjectives you can use in here. Organized, which is the most important word in here. You organize your day, your work. And finally, able to work under pressure is as important as organized. You actually can take responsibilities, especially on the rush hour or when you are under pressure. The sixth question is, what are your weaknesses? The opposite of the previous question, strength. Like, what are the points you're not really good at? Anyway, let's have an example of how to answer that question. The first point, too much sensitive. Not adapt to public speaking, means like you are shy. You can't speak into a group with a group. Disorganized, and I don't recommend you to mention that one because you will actually be refused straight away if you are disorganized. Disorganized is the opposite of organized. Difficulties in asking questions. You might have difficulties of to ask question. And lack of confidence, lack of experience, lack of focus, lack of whatever you are not good at. Just say lack of confidence, experience, focus, or anything you are not really good at. Where do you see yourself in a couple of years? I remember, guys, I've been asked that question before and my answer was on my bed. I see myself in a couple of years on my bed because I didn't want that job at that time. But however, I've been accepted to that job. Anyway, let's have an example of how to answer that question. In a couple of years' time, I see myself as holding a senior position within your company, taking on more responsibilities, handling projects, and meeting their deadlines. Efficient team handling would be one of my top priorities, as this would aid the growth of your company. Quite specific, short answer. You hit the points. I've already highlighted the most important sentences and words you might use. How well do you work under pressure? In here, you need to mention an example of a previous job you have done. Anyway, I'll give you an example of how to do it. I work extremely well under pressure. I have previously completed quite a few tasks before deadlines. Moreover, you can mention as well a previous job you have done before as an example in here. Anyway, guys, I wish you all the best in your interviews. Thank you so much for watching me and see you next video.